works. What's up, everybody? I want to talk about the year in review with the Milwaukee Bucks. Overall, they were 44 and 38. Best record they had in a long time since 2010. Although last year they were 6th in the East, this year they were 7th in the East. Like a tiebreaker. Sorry, I'm just still eating. But season has its ups and downs, and crazy enough, like they traded Graham and Rowe for Eric Bledsoe. Then Jason Kidd got fired. Then they had some of these, like when your contracts and stuff like come and go, and after that they ended up with Shabazz Muhammad for the rest of the season, who ended up being like a scoring threat. They were in the first round against the Celtics, and just recently, this past Saturday, they lost Game 7. So they took the Celtics to Game 7, and I know there was a lot of people that was thinking that the Bucks was going to take the whole thing and win that first round series and get to the second round. Well, I predicted them earlier in the season that they was going to get the 5th seed. They wasn't going to get the 4th. Well, they ended up getting the 7th seed, and I was thinking they might have a chance to get past in the first round, but that would be it. So my expectation wasn't high on them from the beginning, so it wasn't like I'm going to cheer for my team regardless, no matter what, but I just didn't have that high expectation for them just yet. And especially they didn't have, and the bench wasn't as strong as it should be. With Mirza Tunelovic with like an illness and stuff, that now he has to retire and can't play anymore. Matthew Dellavedova and Malcolm Brogdon, and Giannis had like a little bit injuries. We only kept him off for like a day or two, so the injuries of Giannis was not that serious. And you had the returning Jabari Parker in the beginning, had like ups and downs, and kicked it up a notch towards the end of the season. Yeah, you want to come up here? Come on. Like towards the end of the season, he was doing good, and you have him also like in the playoff he's in the playoffs for the first time, and games 1 and 2 he wasn't doing so well, and just ever since then he kind of turned it up a little bit and being like a little bit of a scoring threat from off the bench, which they needed, like, but I guess like, and I was gonna say like with the kind of like the rotation like they have from DeAndre Liggins to Sean Kilpatrick to Shabazz Muhammad. So with DeAndre Liggins, I can understand why they let him go, because he was a good defensive guy, but he wasn't that much of an offensive threat for some odd reason. So I don't know how he ended up losing that battle with not scoring as much, but good on defense. And with Sean Kilpatrick, he was hidden, but I guess they wanted to make room to try to get somebody else that can probably help the squad. So they let him, Kilpatrick, go, and with Shabazz Muhammad after the Minnesota Timberwolves released him. We're gonna talk about the off-season stuff that they should do in a minute, but because there were some games out there, like the home games against Chicago Bulls, they should have won. And like Dallas, like last year, they couldn't beat them, and this season they beat them once at home. And New Orleans Pelicans last year they won on the road and lost at home, but they didn't beat them this season. So there's a few teams out in the West that they didn't beat, and there was a few teams in the East like Miami they couldn't beat. But last year they only had like one win over them. But this season they couldn't beat them at all. So there were a lot of games that they should have won, but just like blown the lead on. You know, that happens in basketball. So what more can we say? Also, going to talk about the team in review. So with Giannis Antetokounmpo with his highest scoring game of his career so far, has like about I think it was around 27 points a game, 10.9 rebounds, and nearly 5 assists. So I don't know if he was in the top 20 in all the categories this year like he was last year. That I don't know. Chris Middleton, he has his ups and downs, and he's like kind of like so-so. But like towards the end and during the playoffs, he guess he kind of found his rhythm and just like finally turned it on. So that was a good thing to see out of him. So hopefully that continues for him next season. But then again, don't forget last season he was dealing with a leg injury that kept him out for like until February. And and I kind of like probably I don't know if it like changed him a little bit, but it didn't change him last season. But it seems like it did sometime this season. So I don't know, but he 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 did what he had to do out there and played good for them towards the end, and also with his high end career scoring with 20 points a game. I think he had 5 rebounds and 5 assists a game. Let's see, Eric Bledsoe had like about 17 points a game, and I think he had about like nearly 5 assists as well. Which I know some people just like will just want to like trade Bledsoe, trade him. That was a stupid trade for him for Greg Monroe. But they needed a point guard at the time. I wouldn't say Malcolm Brogdon was like a great choice for him, but he was probably good as a. For me, he was like better at the backup. But I know they was trying to go with length and stuff like that. But it showed in the beginning that it didn't work, and that's why they ended up getting Eric Bledsoe. And the potential with Eric Bledsoe is right there. But the only problem that I have with him, but everybody else is not seeing it, is his decision making. I think that's the only problem with Eric Bledsoe is his decision making. Like he makes some like great passes, like to lead to like assists, but either it end up costing them and end up being a turnover, or it just end up being, just not a good play and just like messed up or whatever. John Henson. Ooh. Um, I know they was trying to trade him in the off season this past year, but they didn't get any offers. But first, Don Maker was in the starting lineup. Then they switched back to John Henson. But in my opinion, John Henson is better up as a backup center, not like a starting center, because as we saw when it comes to like bigger guys than him, because he's none but like 228 pounds, 6'11", and he's getting bully in the paint towards like bigger guys, and it didn't help him much. He's like a good shot blocker and all, but it's like you need more than that. And like his scoring was okay. It wasn't like the greatest, but it was okay. Let's see. Don Maker has his ups and downs, but I guess when it was time to the playoffs, he showed up. Trying to see David Dover, like I said about his injuries, he was doing okay. They also acquired Brandon Jennings. Like he was doing good for them. His first game back as with the Bucks, he had like a near triple double. Then it just seems like it was like I wouldn't say like up and down for him, but it was like kind of like getting an average. But I'm still surprised that he didn't play in the playoffs at all. But I think things would have changed if he would have played in the playoffs. I think that's mainly like what I'm going to talk about with the players individually. Well, I did forget about Jabari Parker, but like I said, since his return, he's been up and down. Then playoffs happened, and the end of the season, he was doing pretty good. But grades for this team. Grade them. Let's see. I think I would grade them like a C minus, just because, like I said, my expectation wasn't like that high for them, and it was like a little bit lower than how my expectation was with them. But they still did accomplish some things that I knew that they was going to accomplish. But who knows? And I did read a lot of questions, well, answers that I had a question to on the real Milwaukee Bucks group, well, real Milwaukee Bucks fans group. Well, you know what I'm saying. Of course they are, but I did ask people questions like, what do they need to do in the off season? Majority of y'all said they need to get a new coach and a new and a better center, which I do agree with the center. The coaching, I'm a little bit iffy because they did fire Jason Kidd. It was like towards the almost towards the middle of the season, and hired Joe Prunty as the intern head coach. Um, I think like some of the things they did stick with seems like they stick with some of the plays that Jason Kidd had made for them. That was one of the issues that they also like couldn't defend the 3-point line, which a lot of the scoring come from other teams that they score in the three. So that was kind of bad. And rebounding was another thing that, although Giannis could get like 10 rebounds a game, just like overall team, I guess their expectation of rebounds should have been up there a little bit more, but it's not. But what more can you do? Also, I think the other problem was, I think I would say, is a little bit of the bench. They don't know how to fix with their starting lineup. They don't know what they're doing with that half the times because they keep switching and switching and switching. And like I said, they just need a better bench. Like Shabazz Muhammad, hopefully they try to keep him for next season. Brandon Jennings is, although the contract is not guaranteed for next season, but he did sign a contract before the playoffs started. And what else is out there? Like I said, with the all-season moves, they do have I think it's the 17th pick in the draft they got. So they got to keep that for the Eric Bledsoe trade, and their second round pick, I think this year goes to Brooklyn. So only on the NBA draft, they only have a first round pick. So there have been questions like, what should they do with that pick, or should they trade the pick? Should they keep the pick? Because like, I think like I wouldn't say like I'll say like part of this decade, their first round picks wasn't that good. Maybe two of the last 3 years, like their draft picks wasn't that good. Rashad Vaughn, which they traded away for Tyler Zeller. He was a good backup center for them, or sometimes when he starts, but normally he get a little bit on rebounds, but he's supposed to be a good 3-point shooter too, but he hasn't shot any 3-pointers with the Bucks this year. So I guess because they want him more down low and getting the rebounds. So Zeller is an okay backup, but who knows if they're going to keep him? I think he's there for like another year, I believe, or yeah, he's there for another year, I believe. So I know they got that in the bag, but the free agency is going to be kind of hard because they had to let go a Mirza Televic because he had to retire because of the blood cough. So that will free up about at least like 10 million for the Bucks to do what they want to do. But you have restricted free agent and Jabari Parker. You had that 10 million left in the cap, which you got to figure out what you're going to do with that. So and see what they're going to do. But my opinion, what I think they should do, they should make a couple of trades or at least one trade, like a center or try to get a free agent center that will take like that 10 million or either a little bit less than that, but we'll see. And hopefully they get a dominant center out of that, or they get a center from the draft. Because I don't know how many like centers, because I don't pay attention to the college ball, but I only saw like a couple of centers that was there. It could have been more, but I got to look more into it. So in the comments, y'all just let me know like what centers they got available in the draft if when the Bucks get the pick. But excuse me. But I think they should just go for a center in the draft, and I think they good with the point guard position. In my opinion, I think they just need a center, and they got to do something with the power forward, or they're just going to keep Jabari and Giannis split the power forward position, or wherever they're going to try to do with that. But they also had done and play Giannis and Jabari Parker together, like Jabari at the 4 and Giannis at the 5, which they're trying to make like small ball, which it seems like for the Bucks, they don't know how to play small ball yet. Which hopefully they will learn this off season to play small ball if that ever comes to a point. Um, let's see what else. Let's see. They got the draft. They got the free agency starting in July, and like I said, hopefully they go for a center and just go from there. But like I said, I graded them a C minus. What else we talking about? Well, just hopefully they got the new arena coming up that's gonna start opening in like mid to late summer. Although they talk about it's gonna open in the fall, but it's gonna be in the late summer. So hopefully I get to go in there before any games happen, and hopefully I see a game in that arena. Got my fingers crossed, so just hopefully that will happen. And I guess that's just like pretty much it. So probably the next video I would do would be probably around the NBA draft, or I probably would do another video sometime next month, which will be in May, just to get to know more about the draft picks and see what I think they should get out of a center, which is available, and or they should trade the pick or whatever they can do. So we will see, but thank you guys for watching, and until next time.